Hello everyone. In our last video, we covered the Musk versus Altman trial, the diary entries, the billion-dollar lawsuit, the OpenAI IPO at risk. Now a major update has just dropped. And honestly, this one changes the entire picture. Today, we are taking a deep dive into this Reuters story. Musk testifies he did not read fine print about OpenAI becoming a for-profit company. We are going to break down exactly what happened inside that courtroom and what the real risks are that every investor needs to know about right now. But before that, you are watching Let's Decode the News, where we take the biggest business and finance stories and decode them so anyone can understand. If you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now. So let us get into it. Elon Musk testified during tense cross-examination on Thursday that he knew about early discussions around turning OpenAI into a for-profit company. Now think about that for a second. In our last video, we talked about how Musk is claiming he was misled from the very beginning. And now here he is, actually on the stand, under oath, being questioned directly in a federal courtroom. People are searching Elon Musk court hearing in massive numbers right now. And for good reason, because what came out of this testimony is something nobody expected. But here is the part that stopped me cold. But was reassured by co-founder Sam Altman it would remain a nonprofit. Right so, Musk is not saying he had zero knowledge. He is saying he knew conversations were happening, but Altman personally told him not to worry. That is a very specific claim. And if the jury believes it, this entire case shifts, because now it is not about what was written in documents. It is about what was promised verbally. And verbal promises are worth nothing to institutional investors sitting on billions of dollars tied to OpenAI's upcoming IPO. Now here is the line that the whole courtroom was waiting for. My testimony is, I didn't read the fine print, just the headline, said Musk, wearing a dark suit, dark solid tie, and white shirt. Okay, so, the world's richest person, running companies worth hundreds of billions, sitting in a federal courtroom saying he did not read the fine print. From a pure business perspective, that admission is enormous. Because every investor, every board member, every fund manager watching this trial is now asking the same question. If the person who gave $38 million in seed money did not read the documents, what does that say about the governance culture that built this company from day one? That is not a small question for a company chasing a $1 trillion IPO. Here is where it gets even more interesting. William Savitt, a lawyer for OpenAI, Altman and Brockman, pressed Musk on whether he had read a term sheet that Altman forwarded on August 31st, 2017. Now, honestly, a term sheet was sent. Musk received it. And by his own admission, he did not read it carefully. OpenAI's entire defense is built around that moment. They are saying, the paperwork was there. You had the information. And from a financial and legal standpoint, that is actually a very strong position to be in. And here is Musk's answer to all of that, relating to OpenAI's shift from a nonprofit to a for-profit overseen by a nonprofit. So here is why that matters. Musk is saying he trusted Sam Altman's word over the paperwork. That is a human argument, not a legal one. And here is the business reality. Markets do not run on trust. Contracts run on paper. Any investor evaluating OpenAI right now is going to look at this moment and ask, if the founding documents were this loosely managed, what exactly are we buying into? Now here is the part most people are completely skipping over. I was reassured by Sam Altman and others that OpenAI would continue as a nonprofit, Musk said. Look at this. In our last video, we said this trial would come down to trust versus documentation. And that is exactly what is playing out. But here is the financial angle nobody is talking about enough. OpenAI is preparing for what could be a $1 trillion IPO. And right now in a federal courtroom, the story of how this company was built is being picked apart piece by piece. Every unflattering detail that comes out is another reason for institutional investors to pause before they write that check. But that is not even the most revealing moment of the testimony. The for-profit is overwhelmingly where the value is. The for-profit has taken the supermajority of the value of the non-profit, Musk said. So here is the thing. This is Musk's strongest argument from a pure finance perspective, The nonprofit was supposed to hold the mission and the assets. That was the founding promise. And now, by everyone's admission, including people inside OpenAI, the for-profit entity holds the overwhelming majority of the value. For any investor trying to understand what they are actually buying in an IPO, that structure matters enormously. Because what you are buying is the for-profit. And the question is whether the nonprofit's original mission has any real teeth left. Now here is where it gets truly ironic. Stephen Molo, a lawyer for Musk, argued in court that expert testimony about AI's ability to end humankind should be admissible evidence. Now look at this. Musk's legal team is trying to reframe this entire trial as something bigger than a business dispute. They want the jury thinking about civilizational stakes, not just a charity that changed its structure. But here is where the judge said something that I think every investor should hear. And the judge made that crystal clear, saying, "Extinction risk is a real problem. This is a real risk. We all could die." And honestly, the judge responded by pointing out something remarkable. She said, and I am paraphrasing here, "It is ironic that your client, despite worrying about these risks, is building a company in the exact same space." She was talking about xAI, Musk's own AI venture, which, by the way, Musk admitted in court that xAI used OpenAI to train its own models. Think about that for a moment. The man suing OpenAI for $150 billion also used OpenAI's technology to build his competing product. That is the kind of detail that makes institutional investors very uncomfortable about which side of this story to trust. That is exactly where my take comes in. But real quick before I give you my take, this video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. So, here is what I keep coming back to as someone focused on business and finance. This trial has now produced two moments that will define it. First, the world's richest person saying he did not read the fine print on a $38 million commitment. Second, that same person admitting his own AI company used OpenAI's technology. Both of those things are on the record now, and both of them raise the same uncomfortable question for investors: who exactly is the trustworthy party here? Because here is the reality. OpenAI is heading toward a potential $1 trillion IPO. Microsoft has billions tied to this story, and right now the public narrative around both sides of this trial is messy. Musk's credibility has taken hits. But so has OpenAI's governance story. And when both sides of a story look complicated, institutional money gets cautious. Cautious money moves slowly. And slow money affects valuations. Watch the IPO timeline, watch Microsoft's public statements, and watch whether any major fund quietly starts reducing its AI exposure. That will tell you far more than any courtroom verdict. If you found this update useful, give this video a like and subscribe so you catch every development as this trial continues. And here's my question for you in the comments. After everything that came out today, do you think OpenAI's IPO is still on track, or do you think this trial is quietly doing real damage to the valuation story? Drop your answer below. I read every single one.